Hello and welcome to another review of a film that I've seen on Mubi. This time I'm reviewing the film Pleasure, directed by Ninja Thyberg. Now this is a very uncomfortable watch, but in a good way. It's a film that lifts the lid on the porn industry and really shows it to be a grubby, brutal industry. But it's interesting because it doesn't do this from the perspective of taking a moral position on it. It's raising questions that even the most sexually liberated person might struggle with around the industry. And I do think that overall the film is quite sympathetic towards the women who do have at least a certain level of agency in this film. They kind of are aware of what they are doing and the extent to which they're being exploited. So this film made me think of a few other sexually explicit films that, I don't think you would call this film porn. In fact, you would not call this film porn, but it's very sexually explicit in a way that porn is. It made me think of the film which I previously saw on Mubi, Holiday, the 2018 film directed by Isabella Eckloff. And it also made me think of Nymphomaniac and Showgirls, which obviously are directed by men, but are also very kind of sexually explicit. This film is a really interesting take on the porn industry. As I say, it left me feeling very uncomfortable. It's not titillating in any way. But that said, it does use the language of porn. So I think obviously, this may be different from a male perspective or a female perspective, but obviously I can only speak from a male perspective. And I mean, taking, for example, one of the poster images for this, there's a picture of the main character, Bella, in kind of thigh-length boots. That is, there's quite, it's quite a alluring picture in the sense of, like, I think of the poster for Pretty Woman with Julia Roberts, where she's in kind of thigh-length boots, and they're definitely meant to be eye-catching. So as a kind of man aware of the language of these images, I think that this film uses that language to kind of draw you in, but then leave you feeling very, very uncomfortable. And I think it's really clever. I think this is the purpose of the film. I mean, technically, it doesn't feel like there's anything particularly original in this film. The acting is relatively one-dimensional, I would say, and the cinematography is unremarkable. It's all very competently done, so there's no problem with it. But I don't think that's why it's made. The lead role, played by Sophia Capel, she is amazing. She plays the role really well. Her enthusiasm for to do well in the industry, hustling to be successful. She's really entrepreneurial. But at the same time, she's having to endure these awful experiences as she tries to succeed towards her dream. I think it's one thing I liked about this film was the kind of absurdity of the industry. There was a lot of focus on obviously the need for consent and the kind of form filling that has to take place before they can film a movie, and the kind of off-camera niceness of the staff, of the director and the other actors. So we had these bizarre situations where something really unpleasant is being acted out in the film, but then when the scene ends, the people are really nice, and it's kind of this ridiculous kind of contrast between the in scene and the out of scene events. I mean, Bella is never forced to do anything. And at times you do feel like she's empowered, that she's trying to be an entrepreneur, she's trying to be bold, she's got ambition, she's ready to kind of hustle and kind of put effort into trying to be successful. I do think that, Bella is trying to use her agency, but the truth is that the men in this film still seem to have most of the agency, although there are some women involved in the industry side. I think the one thing you can say is that none of the women in this film seem to be very happy, and that they all have to endure really unpleasant experiences. And I think the relationship between the women in this film is really important. There does seem to be a bond between the women, and as I said, that there seems to be an awareness of what they know what they're doing. But even that relationship becomes undermined by money. So even that, there's a kind of cynical side to that. If I'm looking for meaning in this film, I don't think it's subtle. I think it's taking a strong position against the porn industry, but it's not heavy-handed, it's not moralistic. It's done in a really interesting way. It's really left me thinking about it. As with a lot of these types of films, I think it could be taken as a metaphor for capitalism, that everything can be bought and sold, that industry is ruthless, but in this case, an industry around sex, there's a particular brutality and unpleasantness to that. But, Bella is an entrepreneur that's operating in a capitalist society, and she's using the commodity that she has. And so overall, I'd say this is an excellent film, really challenging, really provocative, but it has stuck in my mind and left me thinking, so I would highly recommend it. Next, I'm going to be reviewing Showgirls, the 1995 film directed by Paul Verhoeven. See you next time.